This is going to be my first official video. I'm very excited and very nervous at the same time. I don't know what's going to happen or what to expect. I kind of had two goals when I first started. I wanted to keep track of my own process and my own journey. I wanted to see how I change over time. And then the other part was that I wanted to help other people going through the same things that I will be going through. I finally decided to come to terms with the word and what it meant. I didn't really have a good picture of what it meant. I think that society at the time made it seem like it was some kind of drag queen, or they didn't really show that it could be normalized. And I felt like it was a spectacle to be transgender, and that's not what I wanted. And so it took me a long time to finally look into the meaning of the word, and I actually found it through YouTube. I found people who were already on it, and it really inspired me to do something about it. It wasn't until I had finished my first year of university, and I was just so unhappy with the way things were headed in my life, and I was I need to do something to change, to take a step to do this, even though I'm afraid to tell anyone and to move on. So I went to a trans pride march in June of 2014, and it really inspired me because I saw all of these people just accepting themselves, accepting each other, and I knew it was something I could do. I had been kind of closed off in that area of my life, and so for a lot of people, they were just waiting for some kind of coming out of the closet, I guess you would call it.
We were drunk, so there's that. We were drinking in residence, and then I just remember this a touching moment, I guess. We went into her room, we were just sitting on her bed, drunk in our thoughts, and then she pulled out her diary and she held it close to her, and I was like, wait, what's that? You want to read me a story or something? And then she was kind of I have something to show you, but you can't tell anyone. And I kind of had a feeling in my mind, not that it was going to be that exactly, but that it was going to be something along the lines of that. I had a little bit of a feeling. And then she just showed me the journal or diary entry that was titled transgendered, and I didn't read the rest of it. I was just this tells me what I need to know, and then that was really it. It was frustrating because I wanted to connect on more than just a surface level, and I feel you can't really do that unless they're being their true selves, which she obviously wasn't. So you couldn't dig deeper until you actually knew what was going on, and then you start to get to know the person. But she's so much more comfortable now, and she's the most brave person I know. Literally, she just goes for it all the time. The hardest part is probably my dad, because I was his only son. I had 4 sisters, and so for him it's still very difficult. He doesn't really understand what I'm going through. I did have a talk with him about it just half a year ago. I was already half a year into transitioning, and then he finally was okay, so what's going on? I've noticed you're changing. And I explained it to him, and he just didn't grasp it, and he was I don't understand, you're making a mistake and stuff. So that was hard for me, because you want someone, even though I'm not as close with him as I am with my mom, you still want someone who raised you in a way to accept you. I think he has his own issues to deal with. I think that anyone who has trouble accepting other people has trouble accepting themselves in a way. Yeah, it made me sad, but I think that's expected. From the age of 2 or 3, when I had the ability to grab what I wanted, or I would always wear dresses, I would play with Barbies, and those are very stereotypical feminine things. Not every girl does those things, but for me I think that was a hint as to how I express myself. Yeah, I refer to pre-transition as Marcus, and I never had the chance to be a girl growing up, so I wouldn't refer to myself as oh, when I was a little girl I did this. No, I was a little boy, but I didn't identify on the inside that way, but on the outside I did. So is it strange to think of me as your older sister now?
I guess
it's a dynamic change kind of.
Yeah, it is a bit strange. It took a little while to get used to and stuff. We shop for makeup together, share clothes sometimes.
Yeah, I'm always stealing her cardigans and things. She has so many. Little things would set each other off, and I do things that she'd question and she didn't really have answers for them. Now that I have a way to explain it, it's so much easier to understand someone. So I think getting along is easier now because there's more of an explanation of why I am the way I am and then why our relationship can work. I think this is actually my first Christmas where I'm like fully Maya.
She was always mad every like Christmas about what she got every single time.
Sounds so spoiled.
Well, she would always say like, "This is the worst Christmas," and like she didn't like what she got, obviously.
But like Christmas isn't really about like what you get, it's like the thought behind it. And I think like I was unhappy because the thought behind the gifts that I got were for Marcus, not for how I felt inside. So I went through a lot of internal struggle trying to validate myself with other people, and it just takes time, honestly. But I kind of got into a rut like around a month in where I felt like if I didn't have enough time to do my makeup, then I would be Marcus again.
Technically, right now we look at being transgendered as an identity disorder, so like a mental illness, which I don't think is appropriate. And it makes it difficult because before you can start treatment for your illness, you have to be diagnosed by a psychotherapist, right? So that puts a delay on everything. It's really difficult to find medical treatment for being transgender and to have the access to the hormonal therapies and physical therapies or operations that you might need. There's certainly a lack of doctors who are specialized in the training, which means there are long wait lists for like every step of the transition, which obviously has implications for the client emotionally as well. Like I know for Maya, it's been difficult for her to have to wait through every step and to prolong the transition that perhaps she wanted to do a little bit more quicker. Yeah, it definitely makes it difficult, I think.
Well, recently, I think it was the Health Minister of Canada, actually, he said he was working on passing new regulations so that more doctors can refer using OHIP for gender confirmation surgery. And so that like extremely excited me because that means you don't have to go through a program like CAMH anymore, which takes years to get through just because they have such a high volume of people now trying to go through them to get their surgeries covered. So I'm like ecstatic. I hope this like happens soon because then my doctor I think would be able to eventually refer me to Montreal for the surgery and I won't have to wait all these years just to get approved. But yeah, the wait list right now, it's like, I think it's like a year just to get on the wait list, and then like it can be anywhere from like 1 to 2 years before you actually get the approval and stuff. So it is something I just want to like get over with and be like, okay, now I'm finally like, I guess in a sense, complete with my journey in that regard. And it's, I think once I get that step done, I'll be a lot more focused on the rest of my life. Because right now, transitioning is such a huge focus. It's hard for me to focus on school. It's hard for me to think about all of these other areas of my life that I want to focus on, like any average person. I think the biggest way that it affects me is like relationship-wise. Like I'm young, I want to go out, I want to meet people, I want to have fun, but there's always that barrier holding me back. So for me right now, I do feel impatient about it just because everyone around me is like dating people and like you kind of feel like out of the loop in a weird way. But I'm not too, I don't know, I've learned to be patient over time. Like I just had to kind of let go of all of these ideas I had in my head and just be who I am, because gender is just a social construct. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how they view me or how I view myself. It's all about who you are, not about what you are. So yeah.